Um, so I'm going to make an audible, I think, and make a switch on our subject today. Because I really want Cam
Okay.
on this subject because he's probably the best at social media than all of us.
But
Um,
Cameron's sick. Yeah, yeah, right.
yeah, he's not going to be here today, and I could do we could do it. We could probably, but I think Cam really brings a lot to the table on that subject. Um, so I think I want to switch it to sphere of influence mastery, which was our subject for next week, and we'll do that this week. So sphere of influence. So basically, what are you doing to work your sphere? Uh, you know, I've talked many times over the years that we have enough business sitting in our phones that we'll never need to go look for a deal. And yet nobody works their sphere or their database properly. So I think that'd be a better subject for today, and we'll do the social media next week when we get Cam on in because Cam's one of the best people I know on social media. I definitely want his input on that type of call. Look at Bobby all snazzy there. I like the suit jacket. I'm wearing black shirts now because it makes me look taller.
It's getting
And I
cold
wouldn't be
in
like
San Diego. It's 65 degrees out right now. Whew, it's cold.
well, it was 40,
You all got to
42 when I left
stop
my house this
whining.
morning. Yeah. So, anyways, so we'll start with Catherine since she was the first person on. I always like to reward the first person on. So, Catherine, you're hugely successful. How do you work your sphere? Do you do any type of events for your people? What do you do for your sphere that helps you build your business from your sphere?
I do a terrible job at it. I really do. I'm like absolutely amazed how inefficient I have been at reaching out my clients. So the only thing that I'm doing, which is not really me calling my clients, which is really truly what I so need to be doing is, so I have the American Lifestyle magazine that I mail about 3 times a year.
Mhm.
And in there, you have like a little letter inside, and you can do your own thing on the inside cover, back cover. And inside, there is like recipes with my face on it, which is kind of hilarious because I do not cook whatsoever. So I think that's really funny. So that's one way for me to reach all my clients. And then the other way that I just started doing is that I have this little candle which look like a birthday cake, and I branded it with my name, Catherine Boutiques. This one is not the sample with my branding, with the Eiffel Tower, and then I have a really nice card with happy anniversary. And I told myself, okay, every month, we are going to send this to my clients, and it's going to force me to call them to check up on them. And even with doing this, I still have not been calling my clients. So I am not a good example, but I will listen to all of you and and hopefully will get into my little brain that I need to make that happen because I'm just guilty of not making it happen.
Yes, you and almost every realtor that I know.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, it's amazing to me how many realtors who are even doing well um, don't leave so much business sitting on the table. And there's nothing worse, and we've all experienced this, where you drive by a house that you sold once, and you see a for sale by owner, you see a for sale sign out with another realtor's name.
Yeah.
Right? And we've all experienced that. I mean, it's horrible, and it's our fault. It's not their fault. It's our
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah.
Just to know the stat, and I love the stat. And then we'll go over to Matt. But the stat is 88% of consumers said they would use their realtor again. Only 11% do. So think about it. 88% say they would. They love their realtor. Like I literally had maybe out of 1,400 transactions or so, I think I had two bad transactions where my customers, we both mutually hated each other. But other than that, like everybody loves me because how do you not love me, right? So damn cute. Uh, and um, and yet when I stopped marketing to my database, the phone call stopped. So Matt, go ahead. You're up, bud.
Yeah, that's I think we can all relate to that. I've started using this program called Fellow, Fello, and Fellow reaches out on I think every couple of weeks to all my database. And just engages with them. And then whenever somebody raises their hand and says, yeah, I'd like to find out exactly what my house is worth at the moment, or I'm thinking about doing something, it alerts me. So I really like that program because, like Catherine, I'm not very good about keeping in touch with my past clients. And, the other issue that I've run up against is since the pandemic, so the last basically 5 years, pretty much all of my seller clients are selling and leaving San Diego. So they're, I suppose I should still keep in touch with them wherever they move to, because I could always get, referrals and whatnot. But a lot of them are leaving. But you just gave me an idea, Catherine, you did, because I do send out a magazine every month. And it just occurred to me I could take all my past clients here in San Diego and put them on that mailing list and mail them my magazine, right? So the other thing that I do, though, is I do occasionally just keep in touch with the clients that I actually like, which I like most of them, and they like me too. But anyway, yeah, like you, I've only got a few that we mutually hate each other because they're nuts. But yeah, I do use my phone because I've always got everybody's contact information on my phone. So when I'm driving, which is a lot, I'm almost always on the phone, and that's the time that I try to keep in touch with past clients.
Nice.
So I suppose, and I know some people do these client appreciation parties, which I've never done, but I suppose I should do that too.
Yeah, we've done really well with those in the past. I mean, I obviously don't sell anymore, so we stopped doing, but we would get, we'd do a client appreciate for the brokerage when we had our brokerage, and we'd get 300 plus people show up to those things. Like, it was really, really fun. Let's go over to Craig. Craig, what are you doing with your to manage your database, to work your sphere? You use the Philly beat downs. I know you just go there, you use me, or I'm going to beat the crap out of you.
You know what? The funniest thing is I was going back in some of our notes. This time last year, we had the same kind of conversation. And it was a huge aha for me. And what we did is at that point, we went back to everybody we sold with all the information, which was about 20. Well, at that point, what I could get through the multiple listing was 27 years. And then we realized, then we started searching the names and cross-referencing. It took about 2 weeks. And I hired 2 people off of Fiverr or whatever it is that helped at project work at $5 an hour. And we realized and did numbers. We lost 273 sales that cost us over $3.2 million through the years. And this is from somebody, and this is from people that have had over 4,000 homes sold that I've done in the years. So we're not perfect. What it does is gives us an aha of what we didn't do. But the key was when we talked about this last year, I decided what I was going to do. What I was going to do is I was going to come up with the most productive people, what I call I'm going to say the fishbowl people, the people that swim in my tank, that swim real well, and I keep and I carry them, and I know I've got to call them. On top of it, I know their birthdays, I know their anniversaries, and I know we're really big on doing things like asking for business, but I learned something from Elizabeth in EXP, who's got 12,000 agents and is very busy and very successful. Put your stuff on autopilot. So we did the postcard system of not just real estate stuff, of update things. Like for Thanksgiving, we already send something out with our 2 favorite pies and our 2 favorite cocktails. But these are things that we're sharing that are different, but we're also letting everybody know what's going on in our life. There's a great book called Giftology through John Rule. And in it talks about, it's not about us. I used to label everything and give everything away that had my name on it. But then I started to change this year, and I give things to them that make them think of them and realize that I did something that their family wouldn't do. Going back to the famous Godfather song, or the saying is, remember who ignored you when you needed them and who didn't, when you needed it the most. So I do things that other people don't do. Example, I had dinner with a gentleman that's worth $1 billion last night. We discussed them. He was telling me about his Fasiola piano, which is the #1 handmade piano above Venice. And he was telling me how George Clooney got the job. And he told me the story of Barbara Streisand when she was doing her audition, sitting on a stool in the middle of a stage, and made him stop after 10 minutes, take the gum out of her mouth and put it under the stool. Guess what got written in this hand note today? And I also told him the story about putting the lottery tickets in it. Now, this guy has been in real estate and I've known him forever. And he said to me, he says, Craig, that is why you're successful in what you do. You do the simple things that people don't think of. They're so busy typing, they're not picking the phone up. They're so busy, they're not handwriting. And this is from a guy who's worth $1 billion, has his own G4. And he's telling me that I'm doing a great job in what I'm doing. So keep it simple. We think so much. Do your emails, do your follow-ups, share things, brand yourself. I know I started something. Ross started something in his market. I got off of branding me. I'm branding me in it, but I'm branding my neighborhood, my stuff as being the expert, the real estate and lifestyle person, selling 215. Get out of this damn snow globe that we play in. It is so damn small. We play in a big ocean. I know I'm preaching here, but it's what we do each year. We say what we're going to do. I just told you what I heard last year, how much money I lost, and what I implemented, and how we're doing it. It's not about me. It's about them. Go read the book, Giftology, get it, listen. And also, those are the things. And go back to just staying in touch with your top people. You don't have to hit them all. Start gauging them. Who's going to send you the most referrals? Who did send you most referrals? How are they going to create money? And then kill them with kindness. Get on the phone and talk to them. Follow on social media and congratulate them on things. That's how simple this is. Just got to push the damn button and do it. The problem is we don't do it. Sorry, Philly.
Do that, right? So, I talk to people that are really successful all the time, and 95% do not work their database. I mean, people are successful. So if the successful ones aren't working it, the ones that aren't successful really need to be working it. Right?
It's amazing. 82%, you said the number, 82% of the agents don't do it. After settlement, I send that buyer a handwritten note saying, congratulations, if there's anything I can do, let us know. Also, we have ChatGPT. If you haven't named your ChatGPT, if you haven't gotten deep into it, you're going to be out of damn business. It's not if, it's when, and it's less than 2 years. It helps us. We now take a picture of the house. We put it into a coloring book, especially if the buyer has it. We put the purchase date on it so they can monument it of the date. And I mail it to the other agent's buyer saying, hey, I hope the kids enjoy coloring their new home. I hope it's enjoyable. And then I follow up with a note. I'd love to see the pictures. What are you doing? You're attracting them. You're not breaking any rules, but you're doing something their other agent isn't doing. Keep it simple. All you got to do is go to ChatGPT, put the picture in and say, make this a coloring book.
Yep.
That's simple. And it's free. Done.
Unlike me, I don't pause until I'm done. So you pause. You have that great pause. I wish I had that pause.
I know. It's like I get emotional, and it's like, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm coming off the high of my son getting married this weekend, so I'm still talking.
I know that was phenomenal. Congratulations. That's really awesome. I would have yelled at him and said, stop, but he wouldn't listen anyways.
She's the bestest.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Congratulations. So for those of you just joining us, 'cause I know we had a lot of people hop on after we started. I know we're supposed to be doing social media today, but a couple of our Rockstar social media people are out of pocket today. So we switched gears and we're talking about sphere of influence. How do you work your sphere to create a solid business? And what tactics do you use with that? And next Thursday we'll be doing our social media one. Ross, you're up, bud.
Hey, everybody. Great stuff so far. And I love the personal touch that Lurchie and Catherine use, and Matt. I like the automation that Matt talked about. I also use Fellow. And I think some of the biggest, you guys are talking about giving gifts and keeping up with people. I think that the gift of knowledge in our industry is really good. I think that people are looking to work with experts for a lot of times rather than the person that gives them like a gift with a cat hanging from a rope I don't know what it is, but being data driven in this today's market is super important in my opinion. So what Matt talked about with Fellow, we're really implementing that. And again, like I don't sell a lot of houses, but what all I try and do every day is try to help people sell more houses. So I take demos 2 or 3 times a week and trying to find out what's out there so we can constantly be in front of our clients. Because if we're not, like Mitch said, the stat, he said 11%. I think it's 6% of people will use their realtor again. And granted, that takes into account people moving across the country and they can't. There's certain factors that go into that, but the reality of it is there's always going to be somebody out there doing something better than you if you're not always trying to keep up and do things better than your competition. So if you're not in front of them, and I know we're pushing social media to next week, but if you're not in front of a camera giving your value proposition every week, maybe every day, then what are you doing? For me, my value proposition is I want to help agents sell more houses, right? So what am I doing? I'm out there, I showcase this panel, I showcase other panels I'm on. I want to be regarded as someone who can help people. So what does that mean? It's me on my social media talking about how to sell more houses. Giving you ideas, giving you the tech background. That's what my platform is. If you're a power listing agent like Matt, like he's inside of his luxury listings, showing off his luxury listing, talking about how he can market it. That's his platform. That's what he's in front of people doing. If you're Lurchy, he's got a gun and he's saying, buy this house. Like that's his platform. He's going to make you buy the house. So these are all things that you need to be doing. This is how you keep your past clients. They used you for a reason. A lot of times it was for convenience, right? But over that time, you built a relationship. You need to key on what they liked there. I know that over 60% of people use the first real estate agent they meet. So it's better than a coin flip on being that person they're going to use for the transaction on the front end. But how are you going to be part of that 6% on the back end when they go to list their house? How are you going to be part of that very small amount of people that get that repeat business? And that's about follow-up, right? So your real work starts once the transaction closes. That's really the easy part. You guys know how to do this every day. It's not about, yeah, I got them closed, they're going to use me again for sure. Like anybody on this call could have closed that deal probably. Like it's not hard, but were they delighted? Did you delight them even more after the closing? And so for me, I delight them with data. And with Fellow, you send them market reports that's specific to their house. It's going to be their address, showing the value of their home, showing projected values. And you can also tailor it to the campaigns that you're using. So if you see like something happen in the market when it comes to interest rates or something that's going to benefit your client, you can ping them with that. And that's all automated. So you don't have to really work your sphere as hard as long as you're staying in front of them with different varieties. And Fellow is also bringing in AI calling and texting soon. So that will help you on the listing side. If you're working on the buyer side, Ylopo has Raya, and they also have great market reports and property details that are sent out automatically. And then you get all the data on their searching. So let's say you purchase Ylopo and they're starting to search for 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom houses. You're getting that notification. You're seeing the houses they're seeing. You're also seeing what time they're looking. So if I know Lurch is looking at homes at 5 p.m. every night, guess when I'm going to pick up the phone and call Craig? Right at 5 p.m. And I'm going to say, and I'm going to know what house he's been looking at. And I'm going to say, hey, you know what? This 123 Main Street just popped up on the market, Craig. I would love to show that to you. It seems to hit all your boxes. Like these are the things that we can do, or we can, even if it's in Texas, if he's searching in a different state, I can say, hey, I got a great realtor out there and I saw this property. He sent it to me and asking if I had any clients for it. And I thought of you. Like those are the things that'll keep you in front of people constantly and add value and show them that you're advocating for them and their real estate search and their livelihood. So that's all I got.
Sorry, I keep on mute myself so I can not be a pain in the ass when I make all my gurgling sounds while I drink my tea. Let's see, we got Bobby. Bobby, you're up, bud. Good to see you, man.
All right. Hello, everybody. How are you today? So I'm actually going to start off with something kind of social when it comes to your past clients. Facebook. If you are not friends with every single past client of yours, I implore you to go look at your list of people that you have as past clients and add every single one of them as a friend, and you can put them into a list. So you can put them into a past client list. And so every day, if you want, you can go in and just look at just your past clients. I don't know if you know you can do this with Facebook, but you can do that, and it'll put every single past client into your feed. You won't see anybody else but them, and then you like and you make comments and you be a part of their life. And if you do that, then your stuff's going to show up more in their feed as well. And instead of you calling them every week, hey, do you have a deal for me? You just stay in front of them that way. And I have a deal in escrow that I haven't seen this guy in 15 years. I sold a house 15 years ago for him as a short sale, and he moved to out of state to the South. And like I said, I haven't seen him, but I see him on Facebook and I see his political posts, and I go in there. I like it. I make a comment, and sometimes that might lead to a DM. Hey, how's it going? How's the family? Stuff like that. And so fast forward 15 years later, he calls me up and says, hey, my wife's mother died, and we have a property to sell in northern San Diego. So, can you help us? So that's just one example of many that I've gotten off of Facebook. So if you are not friends with all your clients, definitely do that. Your whole sphere should be in Facebook, and you should be working that, because it's an easy place for you to post all your stuff, stay on top of the market. The other day I did a post on the 50-year mortgage, and that got a ton of activity from people. So use Facebook as a story. It's a long-term story. I've been on there since '07. I've probably made over $1 million or so, maybe more, from just Facebook over the years. So it is definitely one of the best things out there. Some other things that we've done over the years, and we don't do all of these now. One thing that COVID did for us was really implode a lot of our systems and our client parties and all that stuff. We've been slowly bringing back some of it, but some of these we currently do, like an e-newsletter every month. Make sure it's got a lot of details in there. Tell the story of how you can help them. What are the ways that they can refer you? What type of business you're looking for, that sort of thing. You can still do monthly mailers, or actually I would either monthly mailers or quarterly mailers that actually go to the mailbox. That's always a good thing. In Follow Up Boss, you can put all of your past clients and sphere into smart lists. That way you're staying in touch with them regularly, because if you're not calling them regularly, someone else is. And when you're calling them, it's super, super important to have the conversation. Hey, Bill, if you were to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, would I be the agent you would use? Wouldn't it be nice to know that information, know the answer to that question? They might say, no, Bobby, I wouldn't. My cousin just got his license and I'd want to use them. And so now you can have that discussion of, well, why would you want to use your cousin? He just got his license. I've been doing this 23 years. I'm the best in San Diego, and you need a shark when you're negotiating right now to save money. I just saved somebody $70,000 off of a $700,000 house. So 10% discount. So there's a lot of deals out there to be had, but you need a shark to negotiate for you. So, having those kinds of conversations. And then this is a question, and if you have a pen, write this down. This is a good one. Is your home going to fit your needs for 5 years or more? Okay. That is a question that I ask every single person I know that owns a home, because it's such an easy question to ask. And and then they're going to tell you what's going on. Well, my daughter graduates next year from high school, so probably not going to need a 5,000 square foot house for just my wife and I. So yeah, we'll probably want to downsize. Great. Are you going to be looking to sell that property or rent the property, or are you going to be looking? What's your situation? You can start kind of mapping that out, and then you take that person and you put it on a separate CSV file I keep a production sheet that is all of my hottest clients that is separate from my database because my database has got 20,000 leads in it. I don't want people to get lost in there and forget about them. So I always put the people that I've talked to that I know is going to be doing a transaction. I break them down into hot clients, warm clients, and then future business. So that way I just don't forget about them. Birthday cards with lottery tickets. That's a great one. It's super cheap. It costs what, a couple bucks for a birthday card, and another dollar or two for if you want to be really generous, you can get $5 worth of lottery tickets. But those kinds of things go a long way, and people appreciate it. A lot of people don't do that. Another system I use is called send out cards. I'll use send out cards a lot for birthdays and things like that. But I also use it for like referrals. So if somebody gives me a referral, I'm sending them send out card with a 4-pack of brownies, and just thanking them. If I talk to if I go on a listing appointment, many times people don't want to sign right then and there, which is fine. I don't even bring a contract. Immediately after the appointment, I send them brownies and a card that is just all ready to go. It's super easy, and so that works really well. Swag, you got to have some swag for your business. T-shirts, hats, mugs, things like that. People love that kind of stuff. So giving those kinds of giveaways is really helpful to your sphere. They will use your water bottle with your name on it, I guarantee you. And people will ask, hey, who's that? So that's very important. Magnets, football, I think is a good one. Yearly calendar is another good one because that stays on there for 12 months. You can put, emergency numbers and things like that. And then, of course, your number's really big up there, and you're putting in there, we love referrals. You got to be intentional. If you want referrals, you got to ask for it in your marketing and in your language when you talk to people. Now, the next one's a huge one. Parties. You gotta party, baby. You gotta party. If you don't have parties on a regular basis, people will forget about you because they don't see you in person. They might see you online, or they might get your email newsletters and things like that. But seeing you in person, nothing beats that. Time is always the best. It's a good love language, all right? So now I'm going to give you a specific thing to do. It's a referral contest. This is something I've done for a long, long time. It stopped at COVID. I have not restarted it yet, but I'm probably going to do soon. So we used to do, if somebody referred me a deal, I would give, that would be one entry into our referral contest. Now it had to close, and if you bought or sold a house, then that would be an entry too. So if you bought, sold, and gave me a referral, that'd be 3 entries into our drawing. And the drawing was for $2,500. I used to have a big check. It was like Ed McMahon. We did this like 10 years in a row, and it was fantastic. It's some people might say it's not RESPA compliant. I call BS. If I want to spend $2,500 and give it away to past clients of mine and friends, I'm going to do it. To me, it's not a big deal. I wouldn't go advertising it on Facebook and things like that. But when you're talking to people, tell them, hey, I have a referral contest every year. You can win $2,500. Refer business to me. You'll get it into the drawing. You'll come to the party. We'll have a great time. You'll get to meet all of my friends, my clients, and people used to love coming to these parties because there'd be a lot of like-minded people. And I know people that have met at these parties that are still friends today. So being a connector is one of the biggest things that is important with our job. And then the last thing is HomeBot. I used to do Fellow. I like HomeBot. I think it's simple. It's easy. It does kind of the same stuff. Maybe not quite as detailed as or as robust as Fellow, but it's certainly a lot cheaper than the Fellow price tag. So I like HomeBot, and that's all I got. Last thing is provide value when you're talking to your people. Make sure you're solving their problems. Ask them, hey, do you need a contractor? Do you need anything at all? Do you have solar on your roof? I'm here to help you not only sell houses, but look at me as your home manager. I'm here to help you with anything to do with the home. All right, that's it.
Good stuff. Good stuff, Dave. You know, we changed our subject today from social media to working your sphere and what are the best sphere practices. We're going to pick up social media next week.
Okay.
I
And
would
you're up.
love, I would
Oh.
love to hear from everyone when you do a party, what do you actually do in that party? How do you make it exciting that your clients wants to come to your parties? Could you get
Yeah,
into
buddy.
that?
Lots of alcohol.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. No, you got to pick a great restaurant, lots of alcohol. You put out a bunch of hot appetizers or heavy appetizers. You got to have some kind of musician there, whether it's a band or maybe a one-man show, even a DJ we've had before. So you got to just make it fun. And then the other thing with it is take lots and lots and lots of pictures, and then that gets posted online. And then when people see that online, they're like, man, what did I miss? Why didn't I get invited to that? How do I get into that group next year? And so that's what I would recommend.
Can I add something real quick before we jump on?
Yeah.
Something we just started and we're going into it hard in 2026 with all our clients and all the people that we're working with. How many people have seen the commercial? You can't raise your hand. That has the sports players. That you have the tennis person hit the ball and then it comes over as a basketball, and then this one comes over as this thing. You understand? And then the baseball player whacks it and it comes in as a football. You guys all remember seeing the sports? I think it's one of the, I don't know, and it's not even a sports thing. It's for another company of something. So we decided to take that on. And we're having clients sign a white football whenever they go to settlement and things of that nature. And what we're doing is we're actually having them stand in the picture and I'm tossing it to them. And then we have them tossing it away. And what we're starting to do is accumulate whenever we see our old clients. I'm stopping by their house and say, by the way, we forgot to get you to sign this. Would you do this? So now they're catching it and we're starting to do a pass between all my clients of something that's a little fun, that's like a commercial out there. So do it with their kids, do it all, let them, whatever. But the point is that it's just something different that we're used to seeing. And we just started. So again, have fun. Sorry, I had to throw that in, Mitch, because we were talking
That's
about
great.
that at one of Bobby's parties. Have them stand there, throw them a football, have them sign it and pass it out and then to another person and then catch that person catching it. But you splice it and do it. But that's a great thing in getting them involved at the event.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. Mr. Lawson.
Sorry, I was. This is right after a team meeting and it ran late, and then I had some. But I apologize, everyone, for being late, and I didn't know the things. But there's two things. There's one thing that we've done that's been extremely successful. There's one thing that we're doing that we're trying. I don't know what everybody else has said, so I'm just going to be real short and quick. The first thing that I do is, I wish everyone could raise your hand, but, in the chat, maybe say, how many Christmas cards do you all get? Is it, if you're old, you might get 50 or 100. If you're not too old, you might get 20 or 30. And if you're young, you might get 10 or 15 or 25, right? But how many Thanksgiving cards do you get? And the answer is almost always 0 or 1 from a friend. So I stopped doing Christmas cards about 15 years ago, and I send out a Thanksgiving card. And in the Thanksgiving card, basically what it says, and we use a company that does it, so it's easy. We upload our list, send it off to them. But it just says, at this time of the year, I'm just so thankful, and it reminds me of, how important my friends and clients are. And, I just want to say thank you for being part of our family and all that, or whatever it is, something very heartfelt. And you know what I'm asking for in return? 0. I don't say, oh, if you have a referral or anything, because I want it truly be. Because why I think this works so well with our team is that it's really honest. Like, I am truly thankful. I get up every single morning, almost the first thing I do is I go into an app and I write down the things I'm thankful for, and it changes my day. So I highly recommend you do that. If you get right on it, you get your database in, you can, it's, you know, you got 2 weeks until Thanksgiving, you can get one out. The other thing that we're doing this year, and I got this at the Zillow Flex conference. I kept hearing different people, different ways to do it, but we're trying out this year where we're giving away Thanksgiving pies. What's really good about Thanksgiving pies is you go to Costco and a pie is $6, right? So one, it's cheap. Two, it has to be face to face. And three, you can start and order it and finish it and be done with one day. So I don't know if any of you got it, but you may, if you're on this panel, you may have gotten an invite from me. Do you want a pie? And you can pick it up in Park City or Salt Lake, 12 to 6 on Tuesday. Some people do pumpkin pies. Some give them an option of apple pies. I'm not necessarily promoting this idea because this is the first year I'm using it, but I can let you know after, and I'll tell you in another, in a month or 3 weeks or 2 weeks from now, I can tell you. But when we have this, they have to give us their name, their address, where they live, and then their phone number. Then they go on the app and it says, if you want one, it says, do you want to pick up do you want a pie for Park City or Salt Lake? And then we know where that is. So we're getting more information, and then they fill out something. And then the last question, the button is, are you interested in a CMA or a home evaluation? So we started it out and we sent it out to the people that we've sold a house to in the last, I think, 4 years or so, 5 years. I mean, it was maybe close to 1,000 people in the last 5 years, maybe. And we've already gotten 31 replies so far, and that was only in the first day. And 4 people asked for a home evaluation. And one of them, we've already gone on a listing appointment in 1 day. Okay. So what I do know is it works. The other thing for me is I'm inviting 40,000 people to get a pie. Now, I don't really want to pay, $300,000 for pies, right? So we have wall supplies last. And the thing is, how many people, in our market, there's so many people that don't live there, but now they've got something. I got value out of it, and I'm not going to be buying them a pie, right? In fact, one of the home evaluations, I think they live in Boca Raton. I don't think they're going to drive to my office to pick up a $6 pie, right? But it just gets you in front of them, and it lets them know that you're thinking about them. And, this is the time that each and every one of us should be. We need to be so thankful for what we have, where we live in America, that we can do what we can. I can go on and on about that. But anyway, I could tell you more, but that. You got me off track, Mitch, with the change. So there you go. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, I knew I was going to do that today, but I really wanted to. Because honestly, out of all of us, Kim's probably the best on social media than all of us. I wanted him on the call for social media, and I don't bring a lot of value with social media because I'm 100 years old. Although I use it every day. So I get some good stuff, and then I want to go. But first of all, it all comes down to, why did people use you in the first place? Right, and you guys have heard me say this before, but it's not because they like you, it's not because they trust you, it's not because you're extremely good looking like myself. It's because you happen to be in front of them when they're thinking about buying or selling. Right, Dave's example there, the pie was perfect timing to 4 people that wanted a CMA and one that wanted to list the house. I mean, that's why, not that they wouldn't use Dave anyways, but they might have been talking to somebody else too, but Dave gave them a pie. So how do you work your database? And I spent a lot of time building databases in my real estate business. At one point, we had 100,000 leads in our database. And I'll tell you a couple of things that we did that were amazing that no one's talked about yet. And this is a great time to do this. Webinars. So we would do webinars, and we would get 500 to 1,000 people show up for every webinar we did. And we would do webinars, first-time homebuyer webinars, right, to our database. We would do, and by the way, you can market those publicly too, to get more people, make them register. But we would do the first-time homebuyer webinars. We do how to sell a home in this market webinar. We would do VA loan webinars, so loan assignment. We did them all the time. We did probably every quarter we would do a webinar for our database. I don't think we ever got less than 300 or 400 people on them. And then we go through them and we reach out to all those people because they raise their hand. So the whole goal of marketing to a database is to make them raise their hand, right? And once they raise their hand, you know who to concentrate on. Love webinars. Client appreciation parties, we did them. We loved client appreciation parties. We had hundreds of people to show up to ours, but we also did a little cool things. We did charity golf tournaments, which the first places we start was our database of inviting those people there. It shows that we're human, but I also did it for my granddaughter who has a rare disease. One of the funnest things we did once, we did a Olympics with blow up, blow up things, like the kid things that they blow up. I forget what they're called. You know what I'm talking about? Like the bouncy house type of things. So there's all sorts of games with those. They're not just like bouncy houses. So we had like 15 different bounce type of things that were strategic games. I want to say we had about 400 people show up for that. And we gave away a free mortgage for a year. So our prize was about $25,000. We paid somebody's mortgage for a year. So that was really, really fun. You guys have heard me talk before, and I'm going to put it in the chat real quick. Is twice a month emails. Unfortunately, I know most of you will not pick up the phone and call people on a regular basis. So twice a month emails. We do market updates, and we do top 10 things to do. Those are our 2 emails that go out to our databases. Phone calls to your connectors. Actually, I prefer lunches, but one of the things I was really good at was I was always meeting with my people that knew everybody. And here's the most important part. I asked if they knew people, but more importantly, I said, what can I do for you? And I think that's the challenge with a lot of people in our business is they're always asking for stuff. It's like, I hope it's not on here, mortgage brokers entitle people and those people, right? They're constantly asking for stuff, right? But do they ever offer you anything? Generally not. Generally not. I have a very strict rule. I will not use a vendor unless they give me at least 1 deal per year. Just a rule. I get tired of supporting the rest of the world. Holiday text. So one of my friends does this. I taught him this. And he gets at least a deal every time he does this. Every holiday, instead of sending a card like Dave does, he sends a text. And he makes it funny. I remember it was the last St. Patty's Day when he said it was a leprechaun with a pot of gold and said, at the end of the rainbow is a referral from you. Right? Another one he did, Santa Claus said, all I want for Christmas is a referral. And every time he does it, he gets someone to reach out. Right? If you want to generate sales right now from your database, just send them a text saying, I'm in a class right now, we're having a contest, and I could really, really use your help. If you know someone looking to buy or sell home, could you send me their contact info? You'll get leads today doing that. I love holiday text. Handwritten notes, somebody mentioned those, I think Craig. Handwritten notes are so powerful. I get one every once in a blue moon, and it warms my heart. Now, of course, there's services out there that can handwrite them for you. Makes it look like they're handwritten. I don't care if you do that, if they're really, really good, but they do work good. Email. And then my biggest thing to tell you guys on this, don't be cheap. Too many realtors I know just are so cheap and will not spend a penny on marketing or doing their database, and they're part of those 75% that never get called again, right? Don't be cheap. You've got to run a business. If you don't have a big budget, at least do it through an email program, at least do something. But the biggest thing with being successful is action. And as we all know, action and activity breeds more action and activity. And unfortunately, a lot of people are out there just sitting around right now. I'm not going to lecture anybody on this, but I just lectured a whole bunch of people yesterday on this, blaming the market because it's a bad market. It's not a bad market. It's just a different market. Some of my people are having the best year they've ever had in their career. You know why? Because the majority of realtors have stepped back. they're taking a job. I know realtors that were selling 30 homes a year during the peak that are now selling 10. Right? It's their own fault. They didn't build a business. They didn't keep in touch with their customers or their sphere of influence, and they just did that. So don't. You got to be. It's a business. Run it like a business. I always tell people, what would you do? Yep.
Can I just say this? So 2 days ago, we had Russ Lagan from EXP come out and speak. We had like 50 people there. And he was pounding that in the speech that and what he told us. This is just, we're getting back to a normal market. We have been in such an the cocaine and champagne days of real estate, they're gone, right? And they're probably never coming back. But what he was saying is, we're in a market that we have an opportunity to grow like crazy because most people are going to fail.
Right.
So that was amazing.
Yeah. There's not a lot of competition out there, really. Most of your competition resides in your own brain. And then you give yourself these reasons why you can't be successful. But the reality is, most people I know are killing it right now. Like my friends who are top producing people are all killing it. And they're taking advantage of the fact that most of these people who didn't build a solid business are now are not in the business anymore. I mean, we've lost a lot of agents in my organization, but I'll tell you, 83% of them sold less than 2 homes.
Yeah. Well, we grew our business by $100 million, and I'm mostly out of production this year, and it was because of things that we're doing. And it is such an attitude.
It is.
And here's another thing too. You know what's going to happen to the vast majority of all the people in real estate? So Halloween is the beginning of the end for the year. Then now people are going to Thanksgiving parties. Then they have Thanksgiving. Then they get ready. Then Christmas parties. And then they get ready for Christmas. Then they have Christmas. Then nobody works between Christmas and New Year's. Then they go to New Year's Eve. Then they wake up January 1st with a hangover. January 10th, they go, oh man, I don't have any business and I don't know how I'm going to pay my car payment or my house bill. And so, right now is the absolute positively best time to build business and have a strong quarter because the competition is asleep and drunk.
It's true. And what's funny about that, Dave? Because my best closing when I sold full time was always January. Because I kicked it up a notch. In November and December were I was rocking because I knew everybody else was doing that. Craig, I learned something from you, I think it was maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, is I made November 1st my January 1st. And I got that from you. And it made sense because I was the same person. I would sit there and sometimes, I always worked. I think my worst January closing was 6 closings. But, I did take the foot off the gas a little bit. And when you said that, it changed it. So what I did literally about a week and a half ago, I redid all my business plans for the year the first week of November. It was phenomenal. Okay? So I highly recommend if you're not, you should be kicking ass right now. And here's the reason why people stop. I figured this out. So you either hit your goals and you say, well, I'm going to start really strong in January. Right? Or you didn't hit your goals. You didn't hit your goals and say, oh, I'm going to start really strong in January. Or you hit your goals and say, I'm going to take a break till January. But in January, that means you really don't get your business started till March. So you miss an entire quarter by waiting till January. So we got like 10 more minutes here. Anybody else want to add more stuff?
Mitch, why don't we, if somebody has an idea or something in the chat that they'd like to bring up, why don't we offer we got 40 something people in here. Does somebody have something that they're doing or they have a question?
Sure. Yeah, anybody, any questions about what we're talking about or anything you'd like to add that you're doing that we didn't talk about? Tell us how you're rocking.
And while they're doing that, if your business plan is not done by November 15th, that's 2 days away, gang, then you're late.
Yep.
You have to do your business plan for next year. Don't start behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, start implementing. Yeah. And I always tell them, I've probably said this before, is I remember day one, first day I started in real estate. I sat down, got no training, did no idea about real estate, no nothing. All I know is I had 3 months worth of money in the bank before I went bankrupt. And I said, what would I do today if I invested $250,000 to start my business? What would I do today if I spent $250,000 to start my business, not $1,500? And the answer for almost everybody is everything. And I wrote a business plan my first day. And then I just executed it and sold 36 homes my first year. Not because I was good. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but because I built a business plan and executed it. Dave, you got a question there?
What is the name of the app you mentioned for the pie getaway? Dana, I don't know. I'm not the tech person on my team, but basically, it's in an email, and I don't know if it's an app or if it's just like a form. It's just maybe a Google Sheets form or something that they just
Landing
fill
page.
out. But Dana, email my son Drew DREW at LawsonTeam.com or Aaron ERIN at Lawson Team and ask that question, Dana, and they'll get you the right answer, because any answer I give you, don't count on it.
I have the same conversation with people all the time. All right. Any other questions before we call it a day? Any other comments?
Anybody, reach out to me. If anybody's looking for somebody to coach them through a better financial 2026 and to set themselves up on a challenge of literally breaking their business down and knowing exactly where their budgets are and how they work through a whole system that is fairly inexpensive with a coach of it, let me know. I've got a fantastic guy, Matt Palmer. A lot of us know him. He spoke around EXP. He's helped a lot of people that I've turned him on. He's working with everybody. We're putting him together with everybody in my organization through 2026. So I'd like to get him on this call one time too. So I want to work on that. But if anybody's looking for somebody to clean their act up for 2026, reach out to me. I'll put it in the chat.
Cool, perfect. Hey, Gordon, there's multiple business plan tools. I just literally go on and use templates to write mine. I don't make business plans difficult anymore. And literally, you could go on to ChatGPT and just say, give me an outline for a business plan. It'll give you one. I don't literally write formal business plans anymore. I've done many of them over the years. I literally write down, what am I going to do? How am I going to market? What's my goals? How am I going to market? And then my projections. That's all I've done for the last many, many years. I don't get into, I've built business plans that were 100 pages long over the years, especially when I was getting ready to take my company public back in the 90s. So you don't get difficult, but you can go online and Google a free business plan, and they'll give it to you, or go online and go into ChatGPT and say, it'll build your business plan for you. Literally.
Yeah.
I use ChatGPT every single day. You should be using it every day for your business. I just wrote a letter that I had to write that had to be pretty good. I wrote it, put it in ChatGPT. It said basically, nice try, Mitch, but you suck at writing letters, and it rewrote it for me. So,
Another thing, you can go for free to either Mike Ferry or Tom Ferry. They both got pretty darn good ones. Mike Ferry is more about on the call in. Tom Ferry is more on marketing in, but that's a good resource. The other thing is I'm going to be doing for EXP, I'm going to be doing a training seminar if you're a buyer's agent. So we're the #1 converting team over the last many years in Utah and mostly the Rocky Mountain region on conversion of new internet leads. And we built a system. And since we have 2-3 minutes left, I can tell you the gist of it, and it'll blow your mind. So I'm going to ask you a question. Mitch, has anyone ever sat there? So Mitch is a buyer I have not met. Mitch, has anyone ever sat down with you and explained to you the exact process A to Z to buy a home, and also show you how the vast majority of all Americans build wealth in America? No, you're kidding. Well, isn't that something that you think that you should know?
Well, yeah, my wife's been giving me a lot of
They just say yes, they say yes, right? You say, well, as your exclusive buyer's agent, that's what I'm going to do. And so when I meet you today at 3 o'clock at 123 Main Street, we're going to go over that. And then what we do, I'm going to give you the 1-2 minute version of the whole training, but then you can listen to the whole thing. So what we do is we never show one house. We always show three. Because if what happens if you go in the first house and it's not a house they want, they say, okay, thank you, goodbye, and you've lost the relationship. So the first house, you build rapport. Second house, that's where you show them A to Z, and you have to have a buyer's presentation. We have a 12-page buyer's presentation, and essentially what it does is it shows them A to Z how you buy a house. And if you're on a team or whatever, you should build one, and I could even help you maybe, but that's the second part of it. And at the second home, you show the house and you mention that. Then you go to the third home and you say, because sometimes you'll say, well, I want to know about the wealth. Well, you know what? We're going to be late if I spend the time right now, because that takes me about 15 minutes to go through. So let's go to the third house, and then I'll show you how the vast majority of all Americans build wealth in America. Fair enough? They say yes. You go to this third house, and you don't show them the wealth tool until you ask them for their business, or at least you ask for the business after. On your third house, you have to ask the business. You're in the sales business. You have to ask. So, Mitch, can you see your house? Of the three homes, Mitch, which one did you like the best? And I know it isn't that first one, because that house smelled like cat piss, right?
It did.
And then you say, yeah, and you know what? I knew it was the third one, because as I got to get a little more and I understood it, I mean, this is the house that checks the box. So could you see yourself living in that house?
Yeah.
So, and now I already showed you in the first one that writing an offer is not buying a house. It's just starting the first step. Right?
Right.
And then we go through, and then I show you a comparison in a spreadsheet, this tool that Drew, and please don't ask me how he did it, but between me, my lender, my marketing person, and my son, Drew, that came from Tech ID, he built this platform where you can put in the numbers. Okay, how much is the house? What's your down payment? Here's your payment. It calculates everything, and at the end of the day, it says, and it compares buying real estate to the S&P. We've got history of U.S. and Utah, and we have history of the S&P for the last 50 years. And
awesome.
if you put 10% down on a house and you hold it for 10 years, your return is 831.5%. And if you put it in the S&P, and the S&P was 9.83%, but we use 11 because we say, what if you put it in the S&P for that time? And it would say, it came in as it's 189%. So basically it's 200 versus 800. And then we say, the last time I checked, Mitch, I can't live in my S&P portfolio, but I can live and grow and have my family. So I'm going to do that training. If you email me, david@lawsonteam.com, and say, invite me to the seminar, I'll send it to you. We're going to be doing it in a few weeks. I'm going to Hawaii next week, and I'm doing it at the 4 offices of EXP in the Big Island. I'm doing this presentation, but by the time I get back, the presentation will be good. And if you're at EXP with us already, you'll probably get notification, but it's sometimes you miss it. So david@lawsonteam.com, and in the subject line, you have to put in these words, gang. Put in buyers conversion seminar or webinar, because otherwise with my other 400 emails, I'll miss it up. So there you have it. I wasn't thinking of doing that, but what the heck.
Yeah, why not? Go for it. Absolutely. All right, gang, we'll see you all next week. Have a great week, and we'll do social media next week, and have a wicked awesome day.
Thanks, everyone.
Au revoir, bonne semaine. À bientôt.
That too.
Hasta luego.
Woo!